Your Island, live and local, with your host, Tom Schilaro, on 103.9 LI News Radio.
And once again, welcome back as we're moving right along, heading to the 2 o'clock hour. My next guest is a good friend, one of Long Island's leading citizens, doing so much for the Long Island motorcycling community and also for our veterans. Has been such a mainstay of the great work that Jim Barr has done, and good to have him back on. He has some new endeavors out there he's going to talk a bit about, and then we'll take some phone calls towards the end of the show. But let me introduce Jim Barr. He's the founder and director of the National Council of Independent Riders, but I do want to say also the former president of Long Island Abate. And again, Jim has been such a big part of the landscape here on Long Island, doing so many great things. Jim Barr, my friend, how are you?
All right, Tom. How you doing?
All right, doing good. I mean, it's good to have you back on. It's been a while. Let's talk about this new endeavor here, doing so many different things. The founder, director, National Council of Independent Riders. Now, you've always been a very involved with the particularly Long Island Abate, with the veterans and some of the charitable organizations. What focus does the National Council of Independent Riders have right now?
The goal is, right now you have motorcycle clubs that get together annually and talk about their interests, and then they go back and, legislatively and stuff, and they go back and speak with their members about what they have to get involved with, sending emails and lobbying legislation. And then you have motorcycle rights organizations that all work on that also, and they get together annually with the Motorcycle Riders Foundation, and they come up collectively with an agenda to work on legislation. And all those motorcycle rights organizations go back to all their states, and they share that information with all their members. But there's over 9 million independent motorcyclists that aren't receiving any of this information. So my goal is to network and unite the independent motorcyclists that don't have a news source to keep them up to date on what's going on. So going to try to bring them all together. I got a web page started so I can disseminate the information. We opened up a website where going to ask people, independent riders or their families, anybody that's interested in the motorcycle community, they can go to the website and register there. It's free of charge. There's no cost to register. Don't even care what your address is. Just want your email address, your state, and your zip code, so that we'll be able to keep them informed on what's going on, how things affect the motorcycle community. So if something comes up in Ohio, some state legislation, and it's important for the independent riders in Ohio to know about it, want to be able to send an email to just the people that are from Ohio and inform them of the legislation, and have a tool on there where they can click on it and put in their zip code, and it'll tell them who their senator is, who their assembly person is, who their congressperson is. So that's the main goal, is to just try to get the information to 9 million people that ride a motorcycle that don't know what's taking place, behind the scenes.
Interesting, because that was a void. I mean, obviously, if you're a member of Abate is nationally known all over the country, and they have organizations that have firefighters, and they have motorcycle organizations and firefighters and police officers and all sorts of special interest groups and so on. But the idea that there can be a group that fell through the cracks, so to speak, that don't have that organization, is that a way to describe it? Is to try to bring them into the fold if you're not affiliated?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's an obvious void. Like they have no access to the information. Like you can't put on Fox News or CNN and we hear anything about what what Congress is working on to regulate motorcyclists, or what the state's going to do for the exhaust systems on bikes, or that they're introducing E15 fuel that they're trying to put in. You'll void the warranty on your motorcycle if you use E15 fuel. But independents have no way of knowing this. It's not common knowledge. Only the people involved in their motorcycle rights organizations, typically only those people are learning this stuff. And another part of what I want to do is encourage as many independents as possible to join their local motorcycle rights organizations. If you go on the website, there's a click there. It says motorcycle rights organizations contact list. So you can go there, and there's an alphabetical list of all the MROs in the states, based on the state alphabetically, with contact information, and want to try to encourage the independents to join their motorcycle rights organizations to help strengthen the organizations themselves. And then even if they don't join it, I will still want to send them the information, but if they can actually join one of those groups, they're going to be helping themselves even further.
There's so many activism that has to take place, and again, I'm thinking back over the years under your leadership when you were president of Long Island Abate, and some of the issues that were taken up, and I said veterans, but it went beyond that, having to do with legislation and so on, and they were very effective. It seems like groups that tend to be subjected to bad legislation and so on are those that are not organized. And over the years, the motorcycle community, as you have so preached, I think for many, many years, has to be organized and has to let it be known of what type of public policy initiatives should be oriented towards them that are fair and that make sense, and with the underlying reason being safety. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of these organizations do exist. I think your effort here of what you're doing right now is absolutely fantastic, because I think it bridges that gap that possibly did exist with people that ride motorcycles for transportation, but for recreation and so on. And I know at the sound of my voice and your voice right now, there are so many people that are affected by this. People don't realize how many people use that form of transportation for the Sunday afternoon ride or going out to have a good time and so on. It's a big part of the mainstay of not just the Long Island landscape, but part of American culture. And you and I have both said that and seen that. Would this organization, again, get involved also as a 501c3 with some of the causes that you've taken up?
No, I don't foresee that.
Okay.
This is going to be strictly to just try to disseminate information to a group, a block of people, 9 million people who don't have the info. And we're talking national, so it's a little overwhelming to try to do what things that Long Island Abate is working on and what they're doing as far as the veterans. It's just, you can't, you can only be stretched so thin. So this is just going to be for the sole purpose of disseminating information. That's the bottom line. And and I don't want any finances involved in the organization. Right. Don't want to be raising money. Don't want to, it's a volunteer group. It's just volunteers. There's no dues to register to it. Going to keep it nice and simple. No finances.
Okay. Is this something when moving forward that, again, the dissemination of information, how important it is? Are you finding that because of organizations that have existed for the motorcycling community, that things are getting a little tempered, they're getting a little better in terms of anti-legislation that's out there? Because we've read so much over the years of laws that are being passed, profiling, motorcycle profiling. People don't understand that goes on, but it does go on, folks. Many of you who are old enough remember movies like The Wild One and all this other stuff, and it gave public a perception going back to the 1940s and 50s that stayed with the motorcycle community well into the 21st century. Do you find that that's over, or there still has to be a watch out for things like that?
It still exists. There's still a serious concern about motorcycle profiling, but we're getting some help from the legislative process. First, I'd like to ask if anybody listening could go to the Motorcycle Profiling Project website. It's motorcycleprofilingproject.com, and there's a 1-minute survey, just 7 questions regarding profiling. And that survey is utilized to fight against profiling on a national level. And as you know, maybe 5 years ago, the Motorcycle Riders Foundation, through lobbying down in Washington, cut off all the funding that NHTSA used to send to all the states to perform motorcycle-only checkpoints. So there is no more federal funds that states use to do motorcycle checkpoints. So So that put a real damper into that. So that stopped it quite a bit. But now, they get resourceful and they use, state funding and what have you. So it still takes place. But the House bill that was just passed on December 23rd included a resolution that said anti-motorcycle profiling resolution. It was passed with 435 votes in the House and 100 votes in the Senate. It was unanimous. And the only thing, it's not a legislation, it's a resolution, but it is in the omnibus. It does quote the Motorcycle Profiling Project survey as its source of information, and all states are encouraged to work with the motorcycle community to work on not profiling, education, communication, and they're encouraged to stop the profiling completely. Now that that's a resolution, we're now going, right now there's 5 states. Washington State was the first state in 2006 to pass legislation to forbid it. Now there's 5 of them that have it. We're working on that individually in different states to get actual legislation. And this federal resolution is going to be very helpful. It's going to be a very important tool coming forward.
This is the National Council of Independent Riders going on the website and signing up for information. May not have known any of what you just said. And I think that's a key component of why this organization needs to exist, Jim.
Yeah, and another thing is people might only know the big issues. Oh, should you have a helmet, not have a helmet? It's very controversial. People don't understand. You don't only have to go and try to improve things for yourself. You have to constantly fight against the attacks against the community. The Motorcycle Riders Foundation has a full-time lobbyist in Washington, D.C., simply just putting out fires, just trying to inform the community, inform us that something is taking place that's detrimental to our community, where they're trying to use E15 fuel that you can't even put in a motorcycle. So these are things like the regular person has no idea these things have even taken place. So that's why it's important for them to join their motorcycle rights organizations so they stay informed also and they can help lobby against the stuff.
Jim, before we let you go, give that website again that people can sign up and get that database going.
Yeah, nationalcore.org. And CORE is COIR. It stands for National Council of Independent Riders. And we just opened up a Facebook page. It's the National Council of Independent Riders is the Facebook name. If anybody wants to send me an email, it's director@nationalcore.org. And I just real quick, if I can, this is being done with the Motorcycle Profiling Project. They're primarily existing for the motorcycle club community. They have orientated towards. So now Double D from the MPP opened up this new division, and it's going to be, this organization, National Core, but it's going to be within the Motorcycle Profiling Project as a parent organization. So we'll be focusing on the independent stuff while the motorcycle clubs focus on their stuff. And then when there's items of mutual concern, we'll work together and lobby together.
Absolutely fantastic, Jim Barr. Always great to have him on. Jim, you're going to have to let us know how this thing goes. We'll put that website out there again, and so the folks can contact you or sign up for that, because it's so important that we get that information out there. Jim Barr, thank you so much, my friend. Tom.